video recording.
Okay. What's up, dude?
How's it going?
Good.
Episode number 2.
What's up? This podcast. How's everybody doing? How was
Seems
your
to be
week,
good
Josh?
over on my end. I don't know, man. Not a whole lot to report. I'm more curious about your week.
I'm in New York. Right now I'm in Manhattan for a couple days or a couple more days. Went to a show, went to a play, saw Hadestown.
Okay.
It was good. And then my friend that I met in New Orleans, she runs an art gallery out here.
Okay.
Out in Harlem. Went out there after the show. They had like a VR experience, little art piece. It was interesting. It's
New medium.
it's a new medium. I mean, I dig VR. I think it's cool. They were talking about how VR is kind of there's different realms of it, but one of the things is sort of like an experience machine
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that it's sort of like an empathy machine where you can sort of create these environments or experiences,
Uh-huh.
sort of take your whole vision, the whole sort of scope of looking around and all that kind of like 3D dynamicism. That you can sort of create these artistic interpretations of things that would make you feel something. So this was sort of like a project in that sort of vein. The gallery is like a Korean American art gallery. So
Okay.
it's mostly promotes Korean American immigrants and
Artists.
stuff like that. You know what I mean? This lady that did the art piece she's from South Korea. She herself was adopted.
Okay.
But then when she grew up, she ended up getting pregnant, having an abortion. And so I guess sort of the art piece is a call to sort of hard to explain. But I think what she was really getting at is that adoption is not like having a baby and giving up for adoption is kind of like almost like a casual thing. People just think that's sort of like the antidote or whatever to unwanted pregnancy. She was trying to say that you're sort of better off having an abortion, or it's more of a humane act in the end to have an abortion than it is to just give your baby up for adoption. Mostly
It sounds like she voted with her choice when the same situation arose with her personally.
Yeah.
She lived being adopted, and she chose when it was time with at least this child, right? It's not like a black and white, always going to be one or the other, but at this moment, it was not going to be repeating the same experience that she had growing up by farming out her kid to adopted parents, foster parents.
Yeah. And I mean, it was interesting. I mean, I've always, like I'm a dude or whatever. Like I haven't gotten a girl pregnant yet. haven't really gone through that experience. Other people in this chat have. So I definitely just kind of was very much just sitting back listening. But I've never really heard that before. I've never heard an adopted person come out and be like, "Yo, adoption kind of sucks. You're better off aborting." Maybe that's not like the exact wording or whatever.
Right. But that's her opinion, at least as far as this life choice. And you said that was being represented in her artwork too?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's sort of hard to explain, but it was I don't know. You kind of like put the goggles on and you're in this sort of field, but it's like a paper mache field with mountains. And like she's giving you, so the artist is a performance artist, does like theater and stuff like that. she had written this piece, as sort of like a stage play, um, during COVID times.
Hmm.
She lived in faculty housing where she was studying. I forgot where she was studying. I want to say UC Santa Barbara, but I
Hmm.
don't want to misquote or whatever. But anyways,
Hmm.
so in the student housing, there was people doing VR stuff, other teachers working on VR stuff. They came to her being like, "Hey, do you have any material that we could create like experiences with in the VR world?" She gave them this. They ended up creating what this was, you know.
Gotcha.
So it's all so she wrote an iambic pentameter, and she sort of narrates an iambic pentameter as you sort of go through this experience where you're sort of in a field and there's like bunnies and stuff like that and mountains, and she's sort of going into the sort of story of what she went through and like what she believes, and then
Hmm.
you kind of like she got the abortion by pills. I guess there's just
Okay.
like pills that you can order no matter
Hmm.
where you are, and you'll get the pills, and you just take the pills, and you have an abortion.
Gotcha.
That was another thing I didn't know about. And then so like the pill box or whatever like falls on you, and then you get transported to like a bathroom where she's like talking to you through the mirror,
Right.
and there's all these like bunnies and stuff going around. I guess like the bunnies are sort of the
Fertility
unwanted
symbol.
children or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
something of that nature. And
Yeah.
it was kind of like that. I mean, it's really hard to like explain over just like audio conversation, but
Hmm.
it was an interesting thing. I felt
Yeah.
just because there was a lot of information I never really heard before that may be more common in that world that I may just haven't really come across yet. But some of the and there was other people there who were Korean, who were adopted. I don't know if they
Oh,
all had abortions or whatever, but there are other adopted
interesting.
Korean people there.
Gotcha.
So who, obviously were in favor of the message that she was putting forth. Um, so
Did
yeah,
did
it was
they
interesting.
did they mention anything about the cultural norm within Korea? Is adoption more of a cultural norm than it is here?
They sort of explained it that it's something that's sort of prevalent, but
Uh-huh.
nobody talks about it.
I see.
And um, so like it is illegal over there, but everybody gets one.
I see. Okay. Say no more.
Yeah.
Keep it hush.
So I mean, I guess that's the same thing in America at this point. I mean, it
Yeah,
depends on which
especially
state,
certain
which
places, right? Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And
The
so I guess
South.
this too was created in sort of response to
Mm,
the overturning of Roe versus Wade.
right. That's timely. Gotcha, gotcha. So she must have been sitting on this content for at least a little while. You said it was developed during COVID.
Yeah, so it must have been a couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, the actual like graphics or whatever of the VR thing were very basic.
Hmm.
I'm not sure exactly how long it took her. It was another thing too. So I like, showed up late, like during the talk. I didn't get a chance to do the VR thing before the talk.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do it afterwards, so I didn't get that like ask any questions or anything.
Gotcha.
But
What else you got planned in New York?
well, I just got back from the Natural History Museum. There was a
Hmm.
interactive, um, like another experience kind of thing, not VR, but it's like this room that you go into, and it's sort of like a 360 movie thing. There's
Mm,
also like the museum part where you see like dinosaur bones and stuff like that.
right, right.
Um, and then tonight I'm gonna go see a rap show at the Hammerstein Ballroom, which is like a legendary venue in Manhattan.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, it's the rappers. I know them. I know some of their songs, but I'm mostly going just for the venue.
Hmm.
Um, so, so it should be cool. That's later on tonight,
You got a
and
lot
then
packed in, man. It's good. I'm glad to hear.
yeah, we're doing a lot of stuff, and then tomorrow I'm gonna go to the Whitney, which is another art museum.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Gotcha. Sounds like you travel well. You got an
I travel
itinerary. You got
well.
Yeah, you got lots of stuff lined up.
I usually will like I'll plan some things, but I'll leave a lot of room just to chill.
Okay. How
Yeah,
much how
so
much of this that you've done so far has been on a whim or has been pre-planned?
like 70%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, mostly it's just like I plan some stuff, and it's mostly just go like walk around, eat some of the food. Food's really
Mhm.
great out here. They got
Yeah.
lots of stuff
Yeah,
they
no
got
kidding.
unpacked.
Hmm.
Been having really just like good meals. I had some bomb ass dumplings. That was really
Yeah.
good. Um, so it's mostly just like, all right, like I'll buy tickets to something or whatever, and then walk around, eat some food, then go to that thing.
Until that thing. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Plus a lot of novelty in the food too.
Some of it, I mean, yeah, I had a rainbow bagel the other day.
Rainbow bagel. What's that?
Yeah.
Is that Pride Month bagel or is that a yearly
No,
thing?
well, I mean, I guess, yeah, I guess it is Pride Month, but
Hmm.
it is a bagel shop out here in New York that specializes in rainbow bagels.
What is a rainbow bagel? Other
It's just a
than
bagel,
food
but
dye?
it's just rainbow colored.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it didn't taste like anything. It didn't have like flavor, rainbow flavor.
Gotcha. That
I
would
think it
be
was just like a plain, it's literally just like a plain donut with like I mean not donut, bagel with food coloring.
lots of colors.
They also had an American flag one,
Mm-hmm.
but I chose rainbow because
That's
it was
right.
Pride.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Represent Pride Month. You didn't even know it was Pride Month, but you know it's
yeah,
Pride Month. Yeah.
yeah. Bagel was the bagel was really gay.
Next, it's the gayest bagel you ever ate.
Yeah, it was a pretty bagel.
Next month, when you go to New York, you'll get a American flag.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go. Independence Day. You chose right. Timely. Yeah. So I started to tear down my what's it called? This whole space. Got rid of that big ugly file cabinet,
Yeah.
and I opened up the package with all of my new shelves, and of course it's missing pieces. So emailing Amazon, that's been the excitement for me today. Missing one piece. One
Is it like a
piece.
screw? It's like a
No,
screw, or is it like a piece?
it's a vertical arm for vertical like support for the shelf.
So how does that work? You have to hit up Amazon, and you have to hit up the company that sold you the product through Amazon.
You go to Amazon, and then their messaging app has a contact the seller. I'm a pro on Amazon. I'm Mr. Buy and Return. Buy and Return. Probably shouldn't be broadcasting that. Thankfully, nobody's listening right now.
Not yet.
Not
I mean,
yet.
I feel
Exactly.
like yeah. I was telling the guys, it was I was trying to buy some mounting putty,
Hmm.
and I went to Home Depot and couldn't find shit. Asked people like, "Hey, you guys have any mounting putty?" They're like,
Hmm.
"Maybe on that aisle,"
Yeah.
and so I just like ended up like walking back to my car, and like while I was walking back to my car, just like searched for it on Amazon and bought it before I even turned my car on.
Yeah. Exactly. Save yourself the trip. Don't ever go to Home Depot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have like I'm trying to like mount. You see like my garage area, right? Where
Hmm.
it's sort of like the parking lot, and then it's sort of like covered. You know,
Hmm.
I want to like mount a camera onto like the bottom of the overhead part, like down
Okay.
on my car. So I feel
Nice.
like someone's like breaking into my car or has broken into my car.
Well, what do you mean feel like?
So one time someone did break into my car,
Okay.
and then
That was the qualifier I was missing. I was like, how do you?
yeah,
I'm
so
pretty sure
someone did
somebody's
break into
breaking
my
into my
car,
car.
and that was like months ago. You know what I mean? But
I
then
keep
like
I keep missing pieces of gum. There's like two pieces of gum missing
in my car after someone broke
because
into it.
because that's how you feel like you might be getting broken into.
Yeah. No, well that's actually what so a couple weeks ago, my
Mhm.
car, when I went in my car, the seatbelt on the passenger side was buckled in.
Oh, that's a trip.
And so I was like, whoa.
Who gets into the car and gets out without unbuckling the seatbelt? Nobody.
Yeah, nobody. Well, also why nobody's in that car. I mean, mostly it's
Exactly.
just
Exactly.
me. And I, maybe sometimes you have like a vase or something like that you put in that seat and then
hmm
you'll seatbelt it in or something like that. I don't think I
Number
did
one, number one to keep it safe, and number two to stop it from beeping at you. I don't know about
that.
your
Right.
car, but my car beeps
That's
for
true. Yeah.
everything. I hate that.
Yeah.
You put a
Like your
book in the
cell
front
phone.
seat. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Beep, beep.
You don't forget to
Um,
buckle your seatbelt, passenger. That's not there.
so yeah, that skews me out. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna get camera. I'm gonna put it up here to
hmm
see if anybody like breaks in. And then I was talking to my dad about it. And my dad's like, "Are you sure you locked the car? Maybe you didn't lock the car."
hmm
And so maybe I didn't lock the car, but
Yeah.
I don't know. So I want to get some mounting putty so I can mount it to the metal.
hmm But then you have to have some kind of 24-hour loop CCTV recording service.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, right? That's I think that's the harder part than the mounting putty. You got off easy with getting mounting putty on Amazon.
Well, so my can't. I mean, it will. I guess it will save to like a SIM card, and then if somebody breaks in my car, I can take the SIM card out and look at the footage.
Yeah, but I don't know if it has to constantly rewrite over itself or if it is uploading to cloud or something like that.
I'll have to double check.
You'll have to double check. That'll be
Right. But I
yeah.
know, I mean, I bought it specifically because it didn't need to be connected to Wi-Fi. Because like
Okay.
my car is like far away from my apartment.
You've already got the camera set up. The
Yeah,
the,
I
the
haven't mounted it
monitoring.
yet. Yeah, I
Gotcha.
haven't
You just
mounted
need
it
the mount.
yet. Yeah,
Gotcha. All right. Well, let me know how that goes.
yeah.
I have actually had my car broken into. I've had somebody smash the rear driver's side window
In your
and
parking garage.
not in my parking garage. No, I was out, left the car overnight somewhere, and
Camping, right?
camping. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh, was
they
that
left
bad?
they left the nail that they use. I mean, it was like a it was like a nail that you would use inside of a train track, basically. And
Okay.
they just had it against the window. And they probably like tapped it twice,
Yeah,
and just the window shattered. But they left that. They left that laying around.
that's nice.
So
Did
yeah,
they
I know what
steal
it's like.
shit?
Yeah, I left straight from work, so I had my bag of training stuff in the back. I had my lunchbox, which had some, food and my laptop. So
Yeah.
now I've got password protected on all the laptops. Before it was just like open the screen and turn it on.
Damn.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I
that's all right.
remember when I was living in San Francisco, I was
hmm
working on this big story, and so for the listeners, I used to work as a journalist in San Francisco. I was working on a story in the
Reference
Mission,
reference podcast number one.
and uh, yeah, someone like broke in and stole like all my notes.
Mm.
It was all in like this like laptop bag, and they just like stole my laptop and all my notes, and totally
Uh,
killed my story at the time.
physical notes.
Yeah.
Do you still do anything on physical notes? I know you're not in journalism anymore, but
No, not really.
are you vulnerable to physical theft
I mean, sure.
with regards to your uh, work, career,
Oh,
etc.?
no, it's all digital.
Yeah, yeah. I don't feel like I'm at risk of uh, physical theft. Besides, just like, all right, you got my stuff.
Yeah.
I think after my car got broken into that time, which was maybe a year or two ago, and just before that, I'd had a fender bender that somebody rear-ended me, and something else had gone on. Anyway, my insurance was like, "This is the last claim we're paying out on you." We're not.
At least they told you.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't have renter's insurance anymore. Need to find a different provider at some point. Anyway,
Well, let's hope nobody steals from us.
yeah, no guarantees. Speaking of video monitoring system, somebody I work with had their second home, which is also their business office, broken into, burglarized on Thursday night. So I was like watching
Damn.
her watch the footage on her phone as
Was it? What were your thoughts? You think it's an inside job?
Oh, I have no idea. I couldn't tell.
Okay.
Inside job. No, she was just rattled. It was real interesting to see how rattled she was. You
Yeah.
know, you can't really help but have like this visceral reaction to, I've just been taken advantage of, even if I wasn't personally harmed in the process. I'm like emotionally dysregulated now as a result of it. Feeling like I could be a victim at any moment, right?
Like, so you're saying, like, just sort of witnessing her going through that,
Yeah.
you sort of had this empathetic fear.
Not me necessarily, but I was watching it on her.
Yeah.
I could relate to it because I'd been through that and I remember, but I wasn't
see.
having it in the moment. But it's just interesting. It's fascinating to watch the how the body responds, how the body reacts to being victimized like that, traumatized. And there was just I couldn't say anything or do anything that could help pull her out of it. Just had to let her ride through it and talk to whoever in her personal network might be able to help her shift.
Yeah. I know that feeling. Definitely. You're just sort of like standing there looking at a person, knowing that any word in the English dictionary is not going to do any kind of help, and that they just sort of have to go through the experience of what they're experiencing and just let time give it, give it a couple of weeks, and then we can start talking about it and start using words. Because it's just so
Raw.
Yeah. Raw reaction, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's beyond words, beyond intellect.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just sort of like, oh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could tell you something that would make this all better, but there's nothing I can really do. And in fact, saying anything would probably just make this worse or, just make you more angry or whatever. So,
Right.
I'm just going to give you that time to process this.
Yeah. Anything I say might be taken as minimizing.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to encourage you and de-escalate, but most likely it's just going to feel like I'm minimizing. And so thankfully, no one was there. No one was harmed. Nothing was stolen, or at least if there was, it wasn't like her personal belongings. It's,
yeah,
office stuff like that. Anyway, you said you're in Manhattan just for a couple more days, and then you're going to a different location, or are you coming home?
Then we're gonna go to Brooklyn for a bit. I'm gonna stay at my homie's place out there.
Nice.
He's opening a restaurant.
Oh,
so I'm gonna check that out.
That's not easy. How close to opening is he?
I think it's already open. It just hasn't been open for. I think it's maybe only been open for about a month. It's a Creole restaurant, like Southern
Gulf.
Yeah,
I love Creole and Cajun food.
Yeah, so it should
Love,
be
love,
good.
love.
In the
Jambalaya is my
US.
favorite. What do you order?
I don't know. So I went to New Orleans
Mm-hmm.
before, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of this sort of like battered fish is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Or like battered shellfish and stuff like that was really good. Also,
Mm-hmm.
like shrimp and grits,
Oh
like
yeah.
really nice shrimp and grits. It's fucking amazing.
Okay. I like
So I'll
everything.
probably just like that.
Put it all into the pot. Put all the spices, all the foods, all the flavors. That's jambalaya for me.
Jambalaya is bomb, yeah.
Yep.
That sausage
Mm-hmm.
that they use,
Andouille. Andouille
yeah,
sausage.
is that what it's called? That shit is
Mm-hmm.
bomb.
With two L's, I think.
I mean,
Very
yeah, New
French.
York's cool, man.
A-N-D.
I would recommend it. I know you're not super into traveling, but
You know, that's an interesting point that you make. I don't travel well. Like you seem like you travel really well, and I just spend the entire time in a new city or a new hotel or a new whatever, being fucking anxious for however long I'm there. Just anxious, unsettled, untethered.
what do you
It's a,
think is the root of that anxiety?
it's routine, a loss of routine. That's what makes me out of whack, out of sorts. And that's what some people live for. They love to get away from the day to day.
What if you were to do your routine out here though?
I would have to have uh I would have to have like a house with a kitchen rather than a
This like
hotel
this box that I'm
bed
living in.
bed and box. Yeah,
That's my bathroom. That's my
there you
TV.
go. There you
I
go.
mean, New York's fucking expensive.
Of course.
Like this hotel was pretty crummy, but it was like $175 a night, which is like a steal out here.
Yeah, that's very cheap.
So, um, I mean, most cities you get a pretty decent place for like 100. I don't know. It's different now because inflation and post
Hmm.
COVID price wackiness that's going on.
Exactly.
Like plane flights are definitely more expensive. They're probably not going down for a while.
Mhm.
I'm sure like hotels. I mean, you get a big city like this where everything's fucking taxed out, like it's expensive. But overall prices on hotels are pretty high.
Yeah, that's the other
But
that's the other thing that.
I feel like if you're if like let's say I don't know what your routine is, but let's say your
Mhm.
routine is like I like to wake up early, I like to get on a run, do a workout, I like to eat this kinds of foods.
Mhm.
Um, like you could do that kind of stuff while you're traveling. You just sort of before you go, you just search like you get a hotel with a gym, or you
Mhm.
figure out like a cool running, like you go run in Central Park or something like that. I mean, I think a lot of what my whole thing with traveling is like I like to do the shit that I like to do at home, like go to shows and eat food and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but just
Yeah.
do it in a different city. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's not like I'm not out here really doing shit that I'm not really like pushing the envelope as far as like experience goes. You know what I mean? I'm really just out here doing the same thing that I would usually do, but just doing it in a different city because it has different flavors.
Like gay bagels.
Yeah, like gay big. I mean, but like, so I do have a trip planned to go to Egypt
Yeah,
next year.
you mentioned that. That's a trade, or is that
Yeah, it's a
strictly
trade. I'm making the guy's website.
nice?
That's gonna be like that's totally anti like what I just said. Like that's like a guy taking me around, showing me telling
Uh-huh.
me, okay, now it's time to eat, because he's taking me on like a tour
That's full
because I need to
tourism
get access to certain places that I can only get sort of you know what I mean? Like if you were
Mhm.
to go out to like some islands out in the southeast of Asia, like you probably may want a tour to take you out to some islands
Right.
and things of that nature, because that's sort of like the way you access them. So I mean, that is a very different sort of thing than what I'm doing here in New York, which is just chilling. Like I'm just chilling, eating food, talking to people, hanging out or whatever. Same thing in like other big cities that I like to go to, like London and Tokyo and stuff like that. It's just hanging out. Which could be cool if you do kind of like the idea of having your routine, in a different city to sort of get the vibe and stuff like that. Maybe fun for you. I don't know, but
Yeah. I'd like to get to the point where I can also remote work. Like you have the option of being able to pack up and go and still not lose time with your work. So that's one thing. I'm very much tied to in person, changing time for money.
yeah, no, that's the other thing too. I mean, I definitely understand that. I do have a certain situation that allows for that, and
Hmm.
grateful for that because, like you say, most people have jobs where they have to be at a place,
Yeah.
for however much time, and that's a logistical thing. Can't get around. So,
How much time have you been able to take off? Are you like
just for this trip,
completely off work right now, or are
yeah, I'm
you?
off for the whole week.
Nice.
Um,
Good for you.
yeah. It's like my job has unlimited time off
Hmm.
sort of scheduling. So, but even before that, it's to me it's worth it to use the PTO.
Yeah.
If I was going to be out here for like 6 months, it'd be different. I'd
Right.
probably be working for the whole 6 months. But if you're just going out, I'm just going out for like a week or two, or like mostly like weeks, 14 days, 10 days. Might as well just take the time off, enjoy those days, and then
Where
go
would
back.
you where would you go if you were going to take 6 months somewhere out of LA?
Well, it's kind of a scheduling thing because I work 3 to midnight.
Right.
So I'd probably go to Asia because that way I could work like earlier in the day.
Uh-huh.
So I could work like, I think if I were to go to like China, that kind of area, it'd be like 10. I'd probably do like 10 to 5 or something like that. 10 to 6. Yeah, 10 to 6,
Mm-hmm.
which would be cool.
Yeah.
That to me has always been like the perfect work day.
Yeah.
Is 10 to 6.
Nice. Because you got
It's like,
enough time to do whatever you want after,
exactly.
and you don't have to hit the alarm in the morning.
Exactly. And I mean, like, kind of wait a little bit, get it. Rush hour ends right as you're sort of like getting off.
That's true. Everybody's where they're going to be, and then you can get to where you need to go without so much pressure. Not that you have to go anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. Have you thought about that? How much investment have you made in that potentiality?
Not much. I would have to
No.
get a renter.
That's true.
And
That's true. Homeowner.
getting a solid renter in my place where I don't have to like worry about not going to burn the place down. It's going to pay rent on time.
Yep.
That would be the biggest, in my mind, that'd be like the biggest hurdle.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I would still have to come back once in a while. Like, let's say I just like got a renter in my place and then just did the whole digital nomad thing, just like country hopped or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I would still have to come back for like some meetings every like 3 months. I don't know. I wonder too, like, like, do companies that have 100% remote workers, how much do they really care where they're at?
Yeah.
I mean, I know there are some issues with not so much with the company side, but more social, local economic side, that you have these people who are getting like New York salaries, they're getting LA salaries, but they're living in like Nebraska or something like that. And it sort of fucks up like the local economy because you have people who are paying California taxes, but they're living in Missouri or whatever. So Missouri is not getting the financial benefits of these guys that are living there. But they're also kind of skyrocketing prices for the people that are living there too. I mean, it depends on where you are. Like, obviously, I'm sure like some places have it really bad where it's actually causing a problem. You know what I mean? I have heard of people that are in sort of like random places, like random places across the world or whatever, that are kind of living the digital nomad life, and they are kind of fucking up the local whatever industry that's going on. Though I don't know really what it matters to the company. I mean, is the company gonna give a fuck that I'm in Taiwan or Thailand or some shit like that, and I'm not in LA? I don't know.
I guess. Do you have to disclose that?
Well, they're gonna. The thing is, though, they're gonna figure it out eventually, right?
Yeah. I'm just wondering,
Unless
like,
I just
to what degree is that your responsibility as an employee or their right as a employer to know where you reside?
right.
It's Brave New World. Do I get the work done? Yes. Do you need to know where I am? No.
Yeah. Well, there's so like the new thing is overemployed. Have you heard of this?
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got one person working two full-time jobs or something like that
Yeah.
and doing just enough to get by on both.
Do you believe that? Let's say you're the boss at company XYZ. You have a worker who does. He's not amazing.
Yep.
He,
that's
he does
that's the
work.
caveat right there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's the thing.
Yeah.
The work is okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then you find out he has another job.
Yeah.
Do you fire him?
See you later, man.
Yeah.
That's your performance review right there. It's if you find out, I guess performance review number one, you're doing an okay job, but we're not satisfied. And then you find out they're working another job. It's like, yeah, you were on the fence before, and now you're gone. But if somebody's doing their job well, right, and they want to continue burning that hard, right,
Yeah.
and they have two jobs, and like, I'm satisfied with your work, so by all means, do what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree.
It's probably
Um,
it's probably the rarer instance when that occurs.
where they're doing an actually good job. Yeah.
Hmm. Where
I
they're
think
they're
there's
hitting all their marks, and the employer is like, I mean, you're doing great. I don't have a problem. Do whatever you keep doing whatever you're doing because I'm satisfied.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think I think the worst part, or the people that suffer the most from overemployed employees, are the sort of regular employees that have to work with the overemployed. Because
Uh,
if you're in a team
Middle
and you got a
management.
guy who's overemployed and he's only putting in a bullshit effort,
Hmm.
that's bringing down the whole team.
Right.
I think overemployed works if it's a really tedious menial kind of job that you can do 100% remote.
Hmm.
Anything that requires critical thinking, being on top of stuff, any kind of like
Creativity.
schedule kind of stuff, creativity, it's probably not going to work. Now, their argument is that the corporation is just a greedy bullshit soulless entity that doesn't give a fuck about you, and you should just do whatever you can to get the most out of these people because they don't care about you. There's no sort of like loyalty or anything of that nature, and that you should just take whatever you want. Now, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
But the problem is that other human beings work at this fucking corporation and they're trying to make a living and they're trying to be honest, regular or whatever people that, you know, trying to have a decent day at the fucking office. You know what I mean? And then they're like, a lot of times, like, you have a team member or somebody who's maybe even your boss or your manager who's overemployed. And he's like, you know, bringing the whole thing down.
You think a manager can get away with being overemployed too?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I follow the overemployed subreddit.
I see.
And so a lot of it is you hear all the different stories, and a lot of it are like VPs and shit like that.
That they've got their feet, they've got 2 feet in 2 different doors.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's one guy, he was running a thing where, so most of this stuff is in the tech industry. I mean, it's really the only industry that you could really even afford to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of jobs in the tech industry are remote. A lot of them actually have like so much sort of like venture capitalist money that they really overhire anyways. So you'll have like you know, like 10 extra software engineers just in case. I had a buddy, he's a programmer, and he was working at a company where for the whole year he didn't even have work. Like they didn't even give him anything. Like he would just sort of, you know, log into his computer and because it's remote, logged into his computer, and they would just be like, oh, we don't have anything now. We should have something for you later or something like that. And just, I think he ended up quitting that job before he even was assigned any work.
Wow.
So the tech industry is just so rife for a lot of this stuff. That's why I love
UBI, Universal Basic Income.
We talk about that a lot on this podcast.
Tech leading the field.
Tech is leading, yeah, exactly. Like, though from what I have heard though too, is that a lot of that sort of superfluous hiring that's been going on has really gone out the window over the past year. You know, we've had massive layoffs with Google, with Twitter, with a lot of tech companies. So I do think that they've sort of like, for a while, that was the game plan, whether it was to brain drain industries and other competitors, something like that. So you end up hiring, or you just had a lot of just budgets that guys were spending, because if you don't spend that budget, they'll give you less of one the next fiscal year. That's kind of like a practice, you know what I mean? Like even at my team, you know, I have a budget and I try to spend it. I usually just buy people food with it, just so it's like, you give me that same amount next year. You know what I mean? Maybe give me more or whatever. Right. So maybe it's that, maybe it's a combination of a bunch of different things, but you have these guys who are you know, they're like a project manager at one company, and the guy that's working underneath them is their project manager at a different company.
Oh no shit! So they're scratching each other's backs.
You know, kind of stuff like that. So, and it's just like, you know, it's a brave new world in that sense, and I don't know. I'm not too sure where I was going with it. I mean, I definitely wouldn't do it, but I don't think I could, because I have to design shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I could get a day job, like a job during the day, and then work because I work, you know, my late schedule.
Right, but I think the goal and the overemploying thing is like to have them overlapping too, right? Because you're doing 2 jobs at once instead of a job AM and then a job PM.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like double shifts like nurses do, or fast food employees or something like that have to work 2 different jobs. The peasants.
Peasants work 2 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Classy people are overemployed.
There we go.
I mean, like those tech jobs, like you're it's like $120,000, $130,000 a year
Yeah.
for each job, which is basically sitting in front of a computer, or not basically, but you're not breaking your back. You know what I mean? Working at these tech places, and then you just dump on another 150 grand on top of that. Shit, I don't know what their taxes look like or any of that stuff, but
That's the way to double your income. I was talking about that earlier this year. I was so excited. New Year's goals. We're going to double my income and whatever. Dude, we're halfway through the year and I'm not seeing any change in income. I'm just grinding away, not making it happen. So it's not as easy. You know anybody who could scratch my back if I scratch their back? Get into this overemployed game? I don't have any skills though. I don't have any tech skills.
You gotta get some tech skills.
I gotta get some tech skills. Gotta get a
I don't know,
certificate.
man.
Google has certificate programs. Have you ever seen that? They have like a Google Skills training that I get their emails. I get everybody's email.
Are you gonna hire somebody? Are you gonna like hire somebody who's like only
Google certified?
Yeah, the only like resume highlight is their Google certification. That's open to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I guess not.
Okay.
Well, I think that's kind of like building out skills that are missing in your resume, not necessarily being the resume, right?
Yeah.
Like you have your list of credentials and experience and whatever that you've accumulated. And then if you see something that's like, oh, I'm missing this little bit, plug into whatever Google skills training that might fill that gap or give you. I'm sure you run into things like everybody's self-educating at some point, right?
Yeah.
You have to get your degree, which gives you that piece of paper and title, but then you've got to backfill whatever you're missing, whether that's podcasts or actual textbooks or videos or Coursera or something like that,
I mean, it's definitely worth it if it's something that you can show over telling. So if you're able to get a Google certification and then provide an example of how you use that certification in a real world work kind of setting,
right?
That will definitely get you somewhere.
Yeah, you have to have the correlated portfolio piece.
Right.
Yeah.
Got to show value.
Exactly. Always showing value.
Right. ASV. Always showing value.
Value. And lead with value. You have to give first. I actually had a sales call with a lady today, and once we got the whole Zoom thing figured out, I have a sales script that I have here to like read through and make sure I'm hitting all the right points. But the conversation kind of like drifted off of the sales script, and I just kind of went with the flow of like, let me teach you a little bit about this. Let me teach you a little bit about that. And she's like, oh, that makes sense. I understand that. Oh, that makes sense. I understand that. And yeah, of course I want to learn something rather than just be told what to do. And so it was pretty validating. She's unfortunately got a new roof she has to put on, and she's unlimited income. So I'll follow up next month.
A new what?
A new roof to put on her house. So, $1,000 for a balance class isn't necessarily going to materialize this month, but it was kind of cool and shifted the perspective of make the sale, or from make the sale to, let's share, let's give, let's show value. I'm making an investment in the time that I'm spending with her, and also placing myself in a position where I'm going to offer more value to you than the physical therapy that you're taking right now. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I think it's a sound strategy, definitely to
Yeah.
especially when you have somebody sort of like already on the phone or
Mhm.
in communication, Zoom, whatever.
Yeah.
You have the script, you have the sales page, but you're also flexible enough and believe in what you're selling,
Mhm.
if you want to put it that way, where you could just start talking in a casual manner and it's
Yeah.
all going towards the sale,
Exactly.
beyond just like that getting money transactional kind of way.
Right. Right. So that's
I mean, that sounds good. It sounds like
it's
the
evolution.
beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. For the most part, I actually had two set up today, and this person was 30 minutes late. Fortunately, she opted in with her phone number so I could call her, and she says, "I'm still trying to figure out this motherfucking Zoom thing." The 75-year-old, she's just cursing. She's like, "Okay, I'm doing the password. Okay, new password. Okay, one-time code. Motherfucker." Jesus Christ. She says, "Excuse my language." And I'm like, I'm loving this lady. I'm invested in you already because
Right.
you're just going to
That
be
sounds like the perfect customer for you.
exactly perfect. You're a real person instead of, you know, like, oh, I don't know, maybe, right?
Right.
So this is cool. It's cool. The second person was no show, no call, no nothing. Just,
Probably going to be a lot of that too.
it makes me nuts, dude. How could you disrespect somebody else's time that
Because they
they're
don't know
putting
you.
us? I know.
You're just a
So
soulless corporate entity. You're a logo and a color scheme.
no, I have a face on on YouTube.
You get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, yeah. I think
So, I
that's the
mean,
shift. The shift has to be uh, becoming a person rather than just being an advertisement. So that's what we're trying to build out is the Instagram and potentially
socials.
YouTube and whatever. Yeah, I got to do the socials. I need
Yeah.
a social media certificate.
It's definitely
Hopefully,
going to be.
hopefully Google can instill confidence and enthusiasm. Can you just plug that in, please?
You got to go to
That's a
ChatGPT for that one. You need to get
ChatGPT.
yourself an AI bot.
Ugh. I saw a pretty cool AI on Instagram of like the Star Wars robots. It's like C3PO, but like constantly morphing as it walked along to a Tupac song.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. It was all AI art. Um,
It's
yeah,
like that kind of creepy, like,
yeah, flowing, not
right.
really stable or solid. Yeah, because it's constantly generating new images to
Yeah.
match each of the
Each
different
frame is a
frames.
new image. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
They're pretty
interesting.
cool. Yeah, they're pretty
Yeah,
cool. They're
it's
very eye catching.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
compel, like, yeah, it's hard to keep your eyes off of them.
Right, because it's wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's like this
Your
isn't
brain's like
right,
trying to put it together. It's
but I
like,
like
eh.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The AI's brain is trying to put it together, and it's not quite on the same frequency as our brain. So both of them are like trying to communicate in different languages, almost.
Right. Something like
Yeah,
that. It's
I
crazy too,
know.
because it's like even the people that are running the AI stuff, they don't like when the AI says something, they don't even know why, like how it came to that
Mhm.
answer or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
It's magic.
It's becoming magic, spontaneous serendipity.
Do you think it's going to sort of like I don't want to say like religiousify itself or whatever, but there's sort of like this idea of like things that we can't explain become magic.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
like AI, like the new magic. But then in the future, 100 years from now, people will like figure it out.
Yeah. Exactly. So I feel like clinicians are always a couple steps ahead of researchers. And so they're always proposing new concepts, new ideas based on observable inferences as opposed to testable hypotheses, right? So I think that that's kind of probably what's going to happen here is that we observe and we infer, and we don't necessarily have the tools to test, right? What exactly is happening
Yeah.
yet, exactly.
Yeah.
And so
I
some,
agree. Yeah.
yeah,
I do think that all people, I guess, should start embracing the AI bots, start learning how to uh, use it, in their work or wherever.
mhm.
Uh, I use ChatGPT to help me plan this trip.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, yeah,
What?
I asked
How
it
did you feed
questions.
into it?
I asked it questions like, act like you're from New York City. What restaurants would you go to? I was looking for experimental off-Broadway plays. So I
Mhm.
asked it to find me off-Broadway theaters that had been highly acclaimed and had shows that had, got bought and went on to become bigger shows. And,
Mhm.
it spits all that information out.
Yeah.
Um, I've actually, because I also believe that Google is dead. I think that
Oh.
Google is mostly like that those 10 when when you type in Google, like whatever you're asking, querying from Google,
Mhm.
like those 10
Top 10
rankings or
hits.
whatever, like that's
Yeah.
all just advertisements. People pay to be there. It's people have gained SEO to a point where a lot of like the websites that you're getting on off your Google searches. Uh,
Are the highest bidders.
yeah, they're highest bidders. They're not really what you're looking for half the time. A good fat chunk of the page is really is advertisements.
Yeah,
You
for sure.
know, so I just feel like um, it's not as useful as it used to be. A lot of
Yeah.
times, if I'm really asking question, when I'm really asking for like information, maybe not so much a website, I'll put Reddit at the end of my search.
Yeah.
So I'll write like try to think like something, question
New
Reddit,
York tourism Reddit.
right? Something like
Yeah.
that. Late night food in the valley Reddit or something like that, because
Gotcha.
they actually have information on Reddit.
Right.
You know,
That's not an advertisement. That's user submitted.
exactly.
Yeah.
Is it some
Interesting.
SEO game kind of like entity online?
Do
And
you
then
do you ever
now
compare? Go ahead.
compare what?
Go
No,
ahead.
but I was saying, but now I just use ChatGPT because ChatGPT will scour the entire internet, find all the relevant algorithmic things that are related to what I'm asking, and then it will just kind of like spit it out in like a conversational sort of text way.
Right.
So
So
yeah,
what about this? What what does the conversational text output from GPT look like compared to a traditional Google search? Have you ever like layered them together? Like do one tab open ChatGPT, give it your query, and then another tab open on Google, same query, and take a
I'm
look.
not, but that sounds like a good experiment.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
like
I'd
the
like
sound of
that.
that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very interesting, you know, uh, screen.
Proof of concept.
Yeah, of just
Yeah.
because it's probably 2 to 1, maybe 3 to 1 ads versus organic content when you do a Google search, right?
Yeah.
If there's 10, at least 4 or 5 of them are going to be advertisement, and then two natural websites, let's say, and then advertisement. It's usually like
Yeah.
the first 2 or 3 are an ad, and then the last 4, right? Whether they're the actual 10. But yeah, I mean that's curious. I have been
I think for
I-
next week we'll try, or maybe 2 weeks from now, try that.
yeah, interesting. I'm
Have that
still
experiment
fully
down.
invested in Google. Like I work off Chromebook, I work off Android, everything's on Drive. Um, my brain is all exported to Google. I just I'm happy to plug in.
Well, I mean, when I say Google is dead, I mean the Google search
Yeah,
is not up to snuff. It's
yeah,
not really helping me these days. It's not really a tool that I've been using.
that's true. You're
But
distinguishing between their products.
yeah. Well, because
Search
I
is
mean,
search
I
is
still
one
use
thing.
Google Drive too. I mean,
Yeah.
Google Drive, Google Images is actually
Uh-huh.
like really good.
Yeah.
Especially as like a graphic designer, having to get images and doing image/research type stuff.
Yeah.
Google Images is definitely where it's at, especially when you're trying to get like company logos and other kinds of things of that nature.
Yeah.
It's really just that Google search.
It's just Google search results.
It's just
So
Google
just
search, yeah.
that one. They do have Bard AI, which I don't know if it's still restricted to certain users, but I think you have to email Google to get on their list for their AI. I think it's called Bard.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Google's definitely they got good shit. I don't know
Yeah.
how else to explain it. I definitely I have an Apple system.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my stuff is made with Apple kind of stuff, but I would have no problem switching to like an all Google system too.
Yeah.
Or Android, whatever you want to call it.
So to be clear, internet, Google is not dead.
Right. Like Google search is crappy.
Google search is disappointing.
It's doo doo, yeah.
Is doo doo.
Big doo.
What do you do ChatGPT on an app on your phone or laptop?
Yeah, I have an app on the phone, and then also have it. Which you can also just go to like the ChatGPT website, create an account, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't spent a whole lot of time messing around with that. I know one of our friends loves AI artwork.
Yeah,
and spends a lot of time synthesizing.
But I mean, I don't know what we've like decided whether we are going to share this with our friends or not. But I will say that one friend, I don't know. I'm not going to say that. Anyways, well, I will say that we do have a friend who's very much on board with the whole AI thing, and over time, I've learned to just sort of, he's like the bus, and I'm like the guy with the skateboard holding onto the back of the bus. Where I'm gonna let him sort of, be the monkey in space, and I'll just kind of like hold on and let him take me there. So he can do the sort of research and kind of get the prompts going and all that kind of stuff, and I can just sort of like leech the info off him, not leech, but like learn just from him without having to sort of sink my own time and money into it.
He's your Reddit sub.
Yes.
He's a one-man Reddit sub.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean that's what our Discord channel is everybody's Reddit subs overlap.
There's definitely, there's that Venn diagram shades certain areas, but he's definitely our AI Planeteer or Explorer. And it's weird because it's I definitely for like the AI art, like it's cool. Like the images that he's able to create are cool, but there's no reason for them. There's no like it's all just seems so random. It's just sort of like in a random assortment of pixels. And like a lot of the stuff looks cool, but it's like I know that he didn't plan any of that. He didn't, you know what I mean? He didn't go like, oh, I want this I mean, he tried, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I'm like explaining it right, but it's
It's the difference
it's just
between a recreational AI art user and a professional graphic designer.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
it seems like that's where the two are like butting heads. It's like, but this is something that I do with intentionality versus something that you do on a whim. And uh, you know, so it's kind of like it's like irking to some
Yeah.
degree. It's probably like the guy whose website you're designing, who's a travel tourism specialist, how he would feel when you say that you planned your New York trip with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
No, this I do this. I do
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
thing.
That's good. Yeah, definitely a good way of putting it.
Yeah. Yeah. You got skin in the
And
game. I don't like
yeah,
AI art because I do this thing. I don't like AI personal training because I do that thing.
right. And then also to sort of be like, the thing with like art is, I think a lot of people misconstrue talent with hard work. Whereas
Mm,
most of the great artists that we have, it's not so much they were born with that talent,
hmm
but they just worked since they were a child on the skill.
Yeah.
So that by the time they're in their 20s or whatever, that they've like really mastered. You know, they say it takes like whatever 50,000 hours or whatever to master something. You know,
hmm
that guy's been working on that since he was a little child. Those hours.
There's a
Um,
there's a
and then the AI
colloquial.
bot just kind of like comes in and just kind of like boop, and then some people are like, "I made this," and
hmm
then the guy who spent his whole life just so he could draw hands and draw, you know, all that just like details and all that kind of stuff and skill
Right.
it takes to do that. You feel a little like, well, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
didn't make
Yeah.
that, you know, like you just, you know what I mean? So there's definitely like this sort of like pride thing that's going
hmm
on. And I definitely felt it. I really just had to tell myself, like, okay, like, yeah, like you spent a lot of time to get where you're at. And
hmm
um, you can't really let that sentiment overtake the logical next step of this sort of like evolution.
Your personal sentiment overtake the logical next step of artificial intelligence
Yeah. So as
evolution.
much as I, especially when it first started getting really popular,
hmm
I definitely felt that sort of like,
Knee jerk
this
reaction.
is bullshit. You know what I mean? I spent my
Oh.
whole life to draw like this.
hmm
You know what I mean?
hmm
And here's dude just fucking thinking he's an artist, making, you know, mid journey prompts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I definitely had that feeling at first, but I knew I was gonna have to get over it,
Yeah.
and that this is sort of like an emotional response, and AI is not really going anywhere. And the more you fight against something, um, you know, you got to bend versus break. You know what I mean? So
hmm
let's learn, like, you know, the intellectual mind sort of takes over, and it's like, okay, well, let's learn how to use this for our own benefit, and let's get ahead of the curve, and let's, you know, get away from the more personal feelings you may have about this whole thing,
hmm
and let's try to succeed in that in this future that we're moving towards.
Yeah. I think there's a set of skills to be able to interact with AI. You know, that'll be a skill set as well.
Right. And so, you
Uh,
know, homie, like, yeah, homie, go crazy. Make all the AI art that you can, make all the AI prompts and the chat GPTs, and let me
mhm,
know where the good shit is and where the bad shit is, and I'll learn from
mhm.
you. Because I don't I don't want to learn this shit. You know, not that I don't want to learn this shit, but um I'm gonna
It's
let you
not.
work. I he's so enthusiastic about it that I'll, you know, it's just I'll let you run with it, and I'll learn from you, you know.
Yeah.
And I
You already have
really, and over
you
time,
already
I
have
feel
your
like,
canvas.
Yeah, and over time, I've started to become kind of grateful for him being so into it.
Mm, nice.
So let's say, next a few couple months or whatever, my boss comes to me and he's like, "Hey, we're going to start implementing some form of like AI in our work." I'm not going to
Mhm.
be totally, version to it. I'll have, secondhand experience, but good experience through,
Mhm.
just being friends with him and him working on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's this story, whether or not it's true, probably not true, but a woman's in a cafe and she sees Van Gogh and she goes up to him and says, "Oh my God, would you mind? Can you just draw a little something for me? Anything would be great." And so he takes his napkin and 30 seconds later he draws something and gives it to her. And she's, "This is amazing. I can't believe you can do this." And he said, "It'll be $5 million." And she said, "But that took you like 20 seconds to do." And she said, and he says, "No, it's taken me my whole life to be able to do that in 20
Yeah,
seconds. Yeah. And that's
it's
the
real.
skill.
That's something you maybe don't realize
Hmm.
until like you're, but that's also made like, because I now have experience with that, I when I see other people work on stuff too, it's like, like for you, like you've been working on the industry that you're in, you've been in it for
Hmm.
a long time now, longer, 20 years now, almost 30 years now in the
Uh,
fitness realm.
15 of actually working, and then, you know, in the world of exercise, athletics, fitness for since high school.
Yeah. So same kind of principles, a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Stuff that you take for granted. It's like just off the cuff, throwaway knowledge, but for some people that's gold.
Yeah.
The kind of stuff that I would write on a napkin.
You only did that in a few minutes.
I know.
You came up with that workout plan in 2 minutes.
Not as fast as AI bots can do it though.
Right.
Yeah.
But the AI is also you. And I mean, when the AI goes out to get the info about the physical therapy, he's copying your work
That's a good
in a
point.
way.
We are all AI.
And that's,
That should
I mean, that's
be that
also a
should be a
copyright
slogan. There we
issue.
go. What's
We're
that?
all AI.
We are
Yeah.
all AI. I like that. That's a good tagline.
I do wonder the advancements in AI. I wonder what that will sort of teach us in the sense of, like uh
Collectivism.
consciousness, connectivity, you know what I mean? Like I wonder, I don't know exactly how, I'm not that smart, but I do think having these sort of non-human entities that have some kind of intelligence help
Hmm.
us understand our own intelligence and things of that nature. I mean, there's definitely always been these sort of books and you know things of that nature that sort of talk about, you know is a machine human, what makes a human, things of that nature. What now that it's actually happening and something that not just the engineers and scientists are dealing with, but artists and other people, other industries are now getting comfortable with and working with. Like, what is that really going to shed light on as
Hmm.
far as that sort of subconscious, one consciousness kind of realm of things?
That's also very egocentric. I mean, our development of AI is very egocentric because we're not the only form of intelligence on this planet or in the universe, let's say. But AI is strictly being modeled on human intelligence. So it's artificial human intelligence, not just artificial intelligence, because plants have intelligence, animals have intelligence, uh, probably weather to some degree. Weather, planetary phenomena, that kind of thing. And so I think another philosophical question to be begged is, do we put more human intelligence on this planet without learning more and weighing the alternative intelligences that we are engaged with every single day?
I mean,
You know,
yeah. I mean,
we
definitely.
disregard plant intelligence, we disregard animal intelligence.
We
But
definitely
they're,
do.
yeah.
I mean, when you first say like when you say like plant intelligence or animal intelligence, uh, like the first thoughts that come to my mind are systems. Maybe not so much. Like I don't think of plants being intelligent.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm just saying from like a layman's kind of way. I don't think of like plants as having like consciousness, but more having systems.
Right.
Um, but I mean, plants could have intelligence. I'm not disregarding that plants could have intelligence.
Yeah.
But I do think that most people they
But
can't accept
systems,
that.
but systems are intelligence, and that's what AI is basically, right? AI is
True.
just
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
So
get further into this idea of like what is.
what is consciousness? What is
Yeah.
intelligence? What are different forms of intelligence? Which ones are we trying to bring along? Yeah. It's
And
I don't
even
know anywhere near enough about alternative forms of consciousness. I actually have a book that was recommended to me that's on my shelf called Ways of Being, which is all about investigating different forms of consciousness and intelligence in the world. So I haven't dug into that yet, but it's same sort of question about what kinds of intelligence are out there, which and why do we only look at or prioritize the one that we are more familiar with, and what are our shortcomings as a result of not considering
yeah,
everything else.
because I mean, like that first part, like it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like we would be human centric. We're
Hmm.
humans, you know.
Yeah.
But then, okay, knowing that, being aware of that, what can we learn from that? And
Yeah.
like, whatever. How do we get beyond that? How do we get past that?
Yeah. Yeah. Everything
Well,
should
you
be
should
taken
definitely read
in.
that book for the next podcast, bro.
Definitely won't be before the next podcast. I'm kind of a slow reader, but it'll come up eventually. Like you said, AI is not going anywhere.
No, definitely not. It's just gonna get better and better too. That's the other thing too is, with Midjourney, which for people who don't know, is the image creating AI bot, I guess. I'm very frustrated with it. It never works. I've never gotten anything out of it that I was like, oh, I can actually use this. But I
Have you
do think
seen other people be able to create with it that you
I
could agree with or see value in?
yeah,
Or is
yeah,
just or is
definitely.
just your personal interaction with the bot that you can't work?
Yeah, I've definitely seen some people use it to get what they wanted.
Hmm.
Um I mean, because the guy who has the account for it, so I have
Hmm.
to tell him what I want, and then he has to go and put it into the to the bot machine or whatever. So it's a
Uh,
little I have
you're
to
two
sort of
steps
use it when
removed.
he's online kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
Uh but so I don't have mastery over it or anything of
Right.
that nature. But from what I've heard though is that where we're at now is still at a very early stage of it. And
Mhm.
over time, it's going to get more and more better, easier to use, easier to like write what you want and get something.
Hmm.
Uh, which is pretty fascinating too, because it's already pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Even at the state that it's in. Um, and like, some of like the writing prompts that people will have been, you know, uh, playing around with and stuff like that. It's like pretty good, man. It's not bad. Like it's not, it's not taking over. It's not exactly like you can kind of tell it's written by AI, but you could easily take what they've written, easily edit just, 20% of it and make it something nobody's heard before.
Hmm.
So uh
It's an efficiency engine
yeah,
to a large degree. It's going to
there's
kickstart do a tremendous amount of the legwork for you, and then you can take the 5% that AI is missing from human consciousness or human intelligence and just apply that on top.
yeah. And it's see, the thing
Refinement.
is, like, technology creates, like, true changes in technology create exponential change. So when you went from paper, like artists, illustrators, when you go from paper and pencil to an iPad,
Hmm.
which, the entire matrices of your own possibilities is exponentially larger than it used to be.
Right.
So, you're going from 9 possibilities to 81.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Saying, or you're going from 10 to 100, and
Right.
now you're going from 100 to a million or whatever,
1,000.
because when I'm drawing on the iPad, I have infinite paper. I have every kind of pen, pencil, stamp effect. I have every color.
Yeah.
I have, I can like work, use work tools. I can, I have all these different tools. I can cut. I can do layers and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Whereas in paper, I just had a pencil and I had a paper and I just drew on that piece of paper. You know what I mean?
Right.
So now, and now when you're going from, so now instead of drawing on the iPad, I'm using Midjourney.
Hmm.
It's like now it's like even more different possibilities. I can create things in different art styles that I don't even know how to draw in. I can make things look, I can make it look like it's from 1700s. I can make it look like it's neon. You know what I mean? Like the amount of possibilities that I can create is
Continues to
like
expand. I wonder.
going through dimensions. Yeah. Say that again.
I wonder. It continues to expand, right?
Yeah.
Dimensionality continues to expand. I wonder at some point. I don't know if you can right now because I'm not. I don't have any experience with Midjourney and very little experience with ChatGPT even. But I wonder if at some point, maybe with Midjourney more so for this conversation, you can input a picture and then deliver prompts to alter the picture. So you've got your base work that you're starting with, and then you're having Midjourney collaborate with you effectively to do something that maybe you can't figure out, or you just want to see what the hybrid synthesis comes of it.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. I mean, already.
Yeah.
And that's, that's kind of like what I'm talking about as far as shortening teams, smaller teams, where, now, right now I have, at my job, I have 9 designers on my team. In the future, I could have like 3 and an AI bot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we could probably produce the same amount that we could using that bot. You know what I mean? Which is also an issue too, because it's sort of like the issue is like cell phones and things of that nature, where it makes able to process more work, but then just the bar for what the amount of work expected has risen with that. Exactly. So
production frenzy.
Yeah, so it's just gonna ramp up, ramp up, ramp up, and um,
It's like
we're
your
gonna be
budget, right?
expected to create 10, 100, 10, 10 times the amount of work that we used to
Mm-hmm.
because of AI, because we're
Right.
using AI bots and stuff like that. Which sounds like it sucks. I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah.
You know
So
what I
that's
mean?
so you have your financial budget for your team, and then you have a production budget. And just like you're trying to make sure that you don't cut your financial budget by spending too little, your production budget is going to have to maintain or increase, right alongside.
Yeah. So
Quota. Meet the quota, Nima.
exactly.
Yeah.
Fucking quotas. I mean, right now there's a big thing with the writers. They're all on strike.
Hmm.
A lot of a lot of them striking is over AI, using AI, having smaller teams, all the kind of stuff that talking about. And these writers that are protesting, I don't know too much about this,
Okay.
but to me, it seems like they're trying to create rules and policies in the industries that they're in that will shelter them from the disruptive nature of AI. But my issue with that is that it's not really going to work out in the end
Mhm.
because the AI is coming, whether you have these stupid policies and rules and stuff like that, where even if you're saying, like, let's say they say, like, no AI in the writing,
Mhm.
like, I think you would be really stupid to think that these writers are still not going to be using AI. You know what I mean?
AI outside of the writing room.
Exactly. So
Right.
you can kind of create these sort of safety nets and these sort of shelters against this sort of incoming storm.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's coming. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And if you guys don't figure out a way to embrace the AI or develop the AI into your systems that you have already,
Hmm.
it's just gonna you're just gonna get trampled. Like those laws and those policies are not gonna be able to hold up.
When it picks up even more momentum to
Exactly.
break down your shelter, to break
So,
through the
and I mean,
shelter.
like, I don't have. We really need like a third guy who's like a Jamie or whatever. You know what I mean?
Okay.
To like research stuff while we talk or whatever. But like, I'm sure if
Uh,
you were to look at the what the Writers Guild is asking for, both the
mhm.
Writers Guild and the Directors Guild or whatever are asking for, it's a lot of shelter from the storm, and
Mm,
I don't think it's going to work out for them.
yeah. Nice, man. Well, that was an interesting take on AI for sure because everyone's talking about it, and not everybody, not every conversation is the same.
Absolutely.
It's cool that we could find talking about alternative consciousness and industry breaks and our own personal resistances, reluctances uh, to engaging with the technology, but then intellectually deciding instead of continuing to defend, deciding to engage instead of defending against. It's cool, man. All right, I'm gonna call
That
it.
time.
Yeah, good
Hey,
for me,
bro.
good for you.
You want to do same time next week?
Yeah, something like that. We'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
Um, I'll keep in touch. I don't know exactly, but I do think that Sunday is going to be pretty chill. Just going to be hanging out, getting ready to come back. Cause I come back at like 4 a.m. that Monday, next Monday.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
we could
Gotcha.
also maybe move it to Monday. I don't know.
Okay.
Monday.
Monday's kind of a long day. What time you have to
Yeah.
work on Monday?
No.
Okay. So maybe. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll check
It's up to
in.
you.
Yeah. I could do Monday, but it'd probably be late. though. Be like, yeah, probably Sunday's better.
Okay.
All right, man.
Yeah, I'll
Good
let you know.
stuff.
All right, bro.
Talk to you later.
We'll talk
Podcast.
about the title and stuff.
Yeah, podcast number 2 complete.
Adios, muchachos.
Adios.
Stay real.
See you next week, everyone.